Hello, welcome back to another Pen Talk. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me as I explore the wide world of pens. And you see one in front of you. And yes, I feel I took one for the team on this pen. It's a Picasso. Here's the eBay auction that I purchased it from. And when the pen arrived, I was unimpressed on many levels, and we'll go into that as I explore the pen. Yes, it's on a turntable, and yes, it's held up by a crab, but it does have a visual appeal. But, as we know, for a pen to be a good writing instrument, it has to go beyond visual appeal. And we'll see how this one fares in that aspect. Got a little bit of sunlight, a little bit of LED light. We got an interesting amount of light here. I'm going to say hi to Mr. Crab as we zoom in. Mr. Crab is enjoying his workout holding up a pen, which is what they love to do. Wink at him. Here we have the pen rotating in a different orientation. It's a new way, I think, to explore the resins as the lights play on them. It's the cool thing about photography. Lighting can definitely change what you see. Do you like it? So when this arrived in its padded envelope, when I opened it up and looked at the pen, my first impression was it's small, it's light, and I don't put it anywhere near the $30 price point that it is on eBay and other sources. Just doesn't have anything going for it from my perspective, other than the acrylic. And it takes almost 3 turns to get the cap off, which is too much. No need for that. We want to say good things. Well, it's an interesting clip. There's the Picasso logo. It's very springy. I think it would work well. I don't use clips, but if I did, this one would be okay. It has that nice ball on the end. And from the design, we would expect it to post well, and it does. It's secure, and it fits fine in the hand posted. Unposted, it's a little on the short side, and with that light weight, it just doesn't feel right to me. It's a standard cartridge converter, spins off nice. The converter is branded. That number 5 nib is branded and marked with F for fine, but that's certainly fine. I'd say it's more extra fine in my view of the world. So we're going to explore this pen, compare it to some other pens. I already have an ink picked out, and we'll see how that fine nib works. Is it fine? So here we are in dark mode to play the LED on this resin. And yes, it is definitely in the amber family. It's translucent. The cap's the same material. It's a one piece. It's a nice design. If we look inside, we'll see there's appears to be a brass screw that holds in the clip, and there's a ledge in there to seal up against the section. So it's a classic design. Nothing unusual or particular about it. So one thing we need to confirm is a suspicion that that nib collar is glued in place. And yes, it is. You can see glue around the outside ring there. So when they screwed it in place, they put glue on it and it won't come out. But at least the nib and feed pull out, so that's all that matters. And that is your classic number 5 size nib in the pen. So here's some amber pens I chose to bring in for a little comparison. Here's the Pen BBS 308, which I would put miles ahead of the Picasso. Of course, finding this in amber is not easy to do. Next to that is a 355, just because it's one of the larger Pen BBS pens and has a very, very nice amber in it. Then you have Moomin M800, which is also a nice amber. Here's a Moomin M600S, also an amber. And here's a Kaigaloo 316, which isn't exactly in the amber family, but comes close with a little bit of a different perspective. If we bring these a little bit closer to the camera, we'll see the light play on those amber resins. And yes, it is a very unique, very collectible, very nice to look at material to make a fountain pen out of. Hopefully you enjoy looking at these. We are posted just to show you the difference, and the 308's a little bit longer, but I like that overall length, and especially it's usable without being posted. And here's a good illustration of the differences between the number 5 nib here in the Picasso and the number 6 nib in the Pen BBS. Yes, it is a substantial visual difference. Writing-wise, to me, the size of the nib is less important as the tipping material and how it feels on paper, but obviously I think this number 5 nib does fit the size of the pen, and the number 6 nib does fit the 308. In the section, I really enjoy the 308 section. This one, it's a little bit smaller than I like, no flare out at the end, but you can hold it and it can work. So what ink to put in the pen? Well, this is the second new Pen BBS ink I got in the Season 30 colors. I really like the fact that they have their own bottles, and it's a beautifully designed bottle. The color card shows it might be in that amber family. It's certainly in the running. Chromatography is fairly dull and boring. Obviously no water resistance. Some pale orange, some yellow, some blue. Very interesting color combinations. Here's the box that the bottle comes in, and it is labeled with a date code. My 3 ups and downs was able to get a completely full fill on this converter. I think it's very interesting how some converters fill very easily and others leave a gap, and unless you want to really muck around with them, that gap is there. But it's a good deal of ink in there. I'm certain in this fine nib, and yeah, there's a little ink I have to clean off the nib. And this fine nib is going to write for a long time. So now we've come to discuss the pen. And my main disappointment is I had expectations of a bigger size pen, of a more impressive pen, and this is just not that. And, you know, what were the good things? Well, it got delivered in 14 days. That's a good thing. But lately, my shipments have been arriving very quickly. Unlike some other people that seem to talk about how long their deliveries are taking. The resin is just so-so. Yeah, it's amber, but, you know, it's not a spectacular amber. It's just an okay amber. It just doesn't feel anything like a good pen I enjoy feeling. And I guess I'm kind of like jaded by the 316s and the Jinhao 100s, and all those pens that cost significantly less than this one are much better made, have more quality components in them. This is about as simple as you can get. And that cap takes way too many turns to get off. You know, it just doesn't feel good in the hand. That section is about as small as I can handle, and here's the dimensions of the section. We'll give you the weights of the pen because they're on the light side. I mean, not really, really light, but certainly lighter than I've been writing with lately. You know, good point number 2 is it posts deep and it posts well, and you really probably need to post this pen to write with it, so it has some weight to it and length. We'll give you those overall length dimensions. So this pen comes in a number of different colors. Here's the colors. And maybe if I'd have got a different color, I may have had a different reaction. No, I would not. And to me, if you want to compare a pen that I think is much better made, well, there's a whole bunch of them, but the Wing Sung 626, here's some examples of the colors, and here's what it looks like on auction. I think is a better designed pen. It's bigger, number 6 nib, well, kind of like a number 6 nib. But, you know, and then there's, like I said, the Kaiglu 316 I've been going through, but that's a flat top dual fold design, and this is not that. So that's why I picked the 626, and of course the Pen BBS 308 fits into that category also. So let's see how, and you know, they talk about this thing being made out of copper, which I don't really care about, and I'm a metallurgist. You know, that's a gold-plated clip. Nothing special about it. And they do have a reputation, which is the other reason why I wanted to try this pen out. But I think this will be my last Picasso. So overall, it handles this Pen BBS ink very, very well. It is a smooth writer for a very fine steel nib. So you got to give it some kudos for that. But I got a billion smooth, fine steel nibs from my Chinese pen, so that doesn't distinguish it or justify the price. It's a very stiff nib, so you're not going to get any line variation. You put pressure on it, you get a little bit more ink, but you know, it's something you're going to be doing on a regular basis. So I need to rate this pen. And I'm going to give it a 6.9. No checks. It gets a 6.9 because it is well made and it does look cute. You know, and it may work for some people, but it's certainly not for me. And it gets a negative sign from a value viewpoint because it's not worth the price that the listings have on eBay. We've reached the conclusion of this video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope this video finds you safe, healthy, and happy. Enjoying your pens, putting ink on paper, finding that pen, nib, ink, and paper combination that floats your boat. This is the end of this video. And we're going to say bye. See you soon.